Oh, you all, hello, it is Tease. Good day, good afternoon, good evening. I hope all are well, hope all are safe. Okay, so this will be, I'm gonna do a 1, 2, 3 video, so this will be number 2. So basically, number 2. Number 2, I just want to say a saying. This was a saying from a family member. Your life is just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats. So basically, I just want everyone to repeat after me. And this isn't just to talk down on yourself, but for those who feel like they have the right and the gumption to judge other people, or they see your flaws but don't see themselves. My life is just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats. Now, with that being said, if my life is just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats, do I have the gumption and the space and the right to identify your flaws in your life? So basically, would I have the right to tell you, you're this and that, you're not doing this right, you don't have this, you're not shit, you're not that? And again, my life is just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats. This is the problem that we've had. We'll get these raggedy men and women that feel like they can tell other men and women about themselves, about their relationships, and about, whatever else they got going on, even in their situations. And you know what? I'm gonna merge this video, because the last one would just be just let them go. But this video, since my life is just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats, I'm gonna put it in the sense as a mother, or even a father. So as a mother, now mind you, you're a mother, you have children, and you probably are raggedy, but I'm a mother, but you don't know that I have children, because I dropped mine off at the clinic. You see what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? So let's just say that I've been pregnant 10 times, and I have nothing to show for it. And I'm the type of woman that's out there, I don't have children, and I'm bragging about it, and I'm proud about it. But I don't have children because I left my legs closed, or because I just was never pregnant. I don't have children because I left mine at the clinic. So since I left mine at the clinic, I feel like now I have the right to tell you, as a raggedy mother or a raggedy father, to tell you about yourself. But this is where you look inside of the mirror and say, hey, before I judge this man or woman about being a raggedy ass mother or father, my life is just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats. And a lot of people don't understand this because they feel like what they've done in the dark, no one knows about it. You think no one knows that you dropped your child off at the clinic, or you think no one knows that what you were doing last summer at that slumber party with 12 men in a cup. You see what I'm saying? So my life is just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats. Okay? So again, if I know that I'm raggedy, whether you know it or not, or whether I believe it or not, I should probably look in the mirror before I go to judge you. And this is just an advice for anyone, whether you're a mother or father, or whether you're on the straight or narrow or not. Before I go to point the finger at you, and it's one thing to point the finger to say that, hey, you ain't shit, or you did it, and then there's another thing to tell someone about it. Hey, you weren't right for that. You had no business, disrespecting or destroying it. If it's something where I'm telling you about yourself for your own good, and it's not in a judgment way, because sometimes you can tell. I do it all the time. Mind you, I'm the furthest thing from perfect. I'm the furthest thing that's without sin. But I will tell you about yourself, because this is about right and wrong. So again, if I'm just as wrong as you are, I'm still telling you about yourself, because this isn't coming from judgment. I'm not saying, hey, you ain't shit, and I am. No, I'm saying you ain't shit for what you're doing. You ain't shit for what you're doing to your children. You're not shit for what you're doing to that man or woman. You're not shit for what you're doing to the world. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to tell you about yourself so you could stop, look in the mirror, tell yourself, my life, and even me, are just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats. So again, before you go to point the finger about that man or woman not having a job, not being shit, or not having this and that, or not even being on the straight and narrow, look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, my life is just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats. So with that being said, would it look right for me to tell you about yourself in a judgmental way? Now, mind you, I'm not saying you can't tell somebody right from wrong, because there's a huge difference from telling someone right from wrong and then judging someone. So again, the woman who was pregnant yesterday and no longer pregnant today has no right to tell the woman who actually has her children that she's dumb for having her children, even if it's from a raggedy ass man, even if it's from a damn pool party, whatever it is. If she actually had her child and you didn't have yours, you have no explanation as to what happened to your pregnancy. Look in the mirror and tell yourself, My life is just as raggedy. Hell, I am just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats. And then therefore, you will draw back that judgment and put it on yourself. Instead of judging her, oh girl, you dumb for having that baby. Hey, swing it around. What are you for not having your baby? Because this is where I'm going to add on to it. For you, and I'm trying not to use the B word, even though my sentence I wanted to say, like as far as the opening to this, is you bitches are killing all of our messiahs. Literally, the best of us and the lifesavers of us, we come up in shitty households. We come up with shitty ass parents. Like, you know, the people who say, oh, my mom and dad was on crack and now I'm a doctor. Do you know how many people I see? I see people on the side of the road. They're on the side of the road, probably been on the side of the road for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 plus years. But their children are actually doing something with themselves. Their children are maybe working, you know, they're working in high places. They're the total opposite. Parents are on the side of the road, living with their doo-doo, eating out the garbage cans, but their children are probably the next president. You see what I'm saying? I've seen plenty of people like that. So with that being said, these raggedy ass parents, specifically these raggedy ass women, I don't know. I guess I'll blame the men on the next video. But when it comes to these mothers, because it's up to you to remove the baby out of your womb, you bitches are killing our messiahs. Because again, as I mentioned, you can be raggedy and trifling, but your children were going to be the total opposite. Literally. You have, mind you, that your raggedy ass parents, but since your mama ain't shit, she didn't think about you at all. She thought about herself. Well, I got a trip coming up next week, or well, hell, Laquan ain't doing right, so now I'm about to run to the clinic and get rid of my problem, which was the next messiah. I'm sure we probably wasted at least 1,000 messiahs now, because you bitches are killing all of our messiahs. And then some of these women will be the same ones to point the finger at you. I've heard this more than once, mind you, which is, and I try to hold my tongue because I will cut you deep with the words, in which I have to probably work on it. But these days, I'm not working on it at all. But back in the past, like, it'll be something where I don't need to punch you in the face. I'll tell you 2 or 3 words, and you'll be ready to kill yourself, you know, because people don't like to hear the truth. But literally, more than once have I heard, I would say at least 3 times, probably more than that, but at least 3 times have I heard of women who are guilty of removing children out of their stomach have the nerve to say, well, I don't have any. Ooh, thank God I don't have any children. Or oh, that girl had it. She's pregnant again. And I'm just thinking, I want to say, bitch, you got rid of at least 10 messiahs yourself. You know, so I'm just thinking like, wow. With that being said, for if you know you're guilty of being a murderer of one or all of our messiahs, keep your mouth shut, look in the mirror, and tell yourself, for all of eternity, my life is just as raggedy, and I am just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats. And I shouldn't be saying anything that's not uplifting, not encouraging, and that's not motivational to nobody. You should be a motivational speaker. If you're guilty of getting rid of our messiahs, at least one of them, you should be a motivational speaker. Not a negative word should ever come out of your mouth, because I feel like there's no coming back from that. That's kind of up there with suicide. Because, you know, some people say, oh, well, you just repent the Lord. No, some shit you just can't come back from. If you literally get rid of our messiahs, you're the reason why we're still in trouble. Because you literally got rid of our messiahs. I don't think there's no coming back from that. Even with men who had their rubber bands busted, I don't think there's any coming back from that either. Even though I'm not a man to have my rubber band busted, but still, just the thought of it and just in real life and how the anatomy works. My life is just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats. So with that being said, I have no business judging you. Now, I can tell you about yourself all day, but it means thinking on point the finger, what y'all need to do, y'all need the ABs. No. Because my life is just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats. And Lord knows, I wouldn't be able to sit there while you point the finger at me and tell me about myself. So if I can't take the heat, I should probably look in the mirror before I judge you and say, hey, you know what? My life is just as raggedy as a pair of pantyhose in a room full of cats. And again, if you're guilty of killing our messiahs, you should become a motivational speaker to encourage people to either A, leave your damn legs closed, or take responsibility for your actions. Even if you're in this alone. Be that motivational speaker. Tell them to do the opposite of what you did. Don't be like me. Don't be the reason why we don't have any messiahs. Be the reason why we do have messiahs, because we're actually going to keep our children this time. The children that we laid down and made, and we sweated and nutted for. Take responsibility.